Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome to the Apex Racing League GT Trophy, live and exclusive on Apex Racing TV. We're heading to our 3rd different continent of the series so far, as this week we head to Suzuka in Japan. I'm Tim Cox, and we have Dennis Branch in the production booth, but right now I'm joined by Andy Thompson. Andy, welcome to the show. We had another win for BMW last time out, making it 2 wins for the season for them. But instead of McBride, he managed to go one better than his. McBride managed to go one better than his 2nd place in round 1, with taking the victory last time out at Sebring. Now, can anyone take a victory away from the might of the BMWs? No, we saw Gandolfi's. He's come the closest for Ferrari by coming 2nd last week.
Yeah, definitely. Hi Tim, hi viewers. Yeah, excellent rounds that we've had so far at the Nürburgring and Sebring last week, and obviously a completely different track against Suzuka. The Track Scotland team seems to be having it the own way in the opening 2 rounds, obviously sharing the spoils between them, both getting a race victory. But you know, one person that I'll always say to look out for is Tom Bingham. You know, he was again fastest in the free practice before by 0.02 of a second, but crucially was around about 7/10 of a second faster than Matthew McBride, which I believe last week when he came in, he said that he's never actually driven around this track. So he was down in 7th place on the track, so might not just still getting used to the track. But if Tom can get a decent qualifying time, because I think that's where he's really hurting himself at the moment, is that he's getting top of the practice, but when it counts to try to get them quali laps in, is that he's down to the mid pack, so he's trying to fight his way back. But obviously had a really good 3rd place last outing, so as long as he can do quite well, I think he has a chance to compete with the Track Scotland boys up the front. But I think the Porsche in this round, I think this track is heavily suited towards the Porsche because it's very stable and you can actually get on the power a lot better. Not the long straights that we've had in the previous rounds, although we have got the long straight that we're watching the guys on the stream coming down into the 30R. The rest of the time is tight, twisty, open tracks with braking and accelerating out the corner is going to be the biggest factor.
Now, you mentioned obviously about the technicalities to Suzuka. It's a track that has pretty much everything. Tight hairpins, long, fast sweeping curves. You see them coming through. One of them right now, smooth. And it's a track that sort of speaks to the inner child in me that loves scale electrics. It's a figure of 8 as well. It's one of the all-time classics, along with the likes of Spa and Silverstone. And I'm sure, please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm praying that we're going to see plenty of overtakes tonight. We've got, there's the hard braking areas into the hairpin, of course into the Casio triangle just after they come out of 130R as well.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to be one of the tracks that it's like I referred to another Marmite track, is that people either love it or hate it. And you don't really see it getting used a hell of a lot, certainly on GT3 races in league racing. But exactly like you said, it's one of them classic circuits. Always great to watch on Formula One. We always see a lot of incidents there, but I think it's actually got everything this track, but it's really technical and it can really punish drivers if they get it wrong. It certainly pays the patient drivers on this track, because that's what you need to do coming out of these corners, is just be patient before you get onto the accelerator and start hard acceleration, because you can actually spin it quite easily on this track. So I'm really looking forward to the 60-minute race tonight around this track, and it should be very entertaining.
Now, we've got qualifying underway currently. Travis not going to have the opportunity to get many laps in today. Obviously, a 10-minute open qualifying session, so everybody is out on track, and just wait for the drivers to start to come around and complete their first lap. Looks like Vinagre, he's the Portuguese driver for Porsche. He's going to be the first one over the line to set a time. Actually, no lie, McBride, there you go. Followed by his fellow Scott. There's Maltrek just getting in amongst them there for Porsche. As we see the Gondolfi going top. The time starting to tumble a bit. There's a Swiss driver, another Porsche driver, Carragher, just setting the new benchmark and going 3/10 clear. Now, just while the driver's on that next lap, Andy, just to bring us up to date with penalties, I understand there's going to be a couple of drivers starting from the pit lane for this round.
Yeah, so we got Christian Engelhardt and Greg Hubler going to be starting from the pit lane for this race tonight. So we won't see them in the qualifying session setting the time. So they'll be starting from the pit lane, which is, it might not be too bad in this track because the pit lane is quite short really from the pit stalls to the exit. And obviously with the drivers, when they set off from the grid, they're all going to be right on top of each other, and they've got the S's to contend with, turns 3 all the way up to turn number 7, which can always throw up a lot of incidents, certainly on that opening lap. So maybe starting from the actually pits won't be too much of a disadvantage, because all they'll do is come out after the carnage and just be able to pick people off if they've actually managed to come off. So it might not be a hindrance like it is on some tracks here tonight.
Those could be famous last words. You never quite know, do you, really? And the perennial curse of the commentator, which always seems to bite, no matter how, how well intended it is. As just looking like Carragher, he looks like he's on he's on his out lap, and also just further down the field, got Colin Shaw for Ferrari setting a few fastest time, but the Ferrari seem to be struggling a bit here, Andy, with only Gandolfi near the top of the timing sheet. The rest of them, which are making up for around about 50% of the field, are all out of the top 10.
Yeah, certainly 13 down. It just seems a melee of Ferraris from that position downwards, apart from, like you say, Gandolfi, who seems to have got the measure of this car. But it's quite surprising, actually, because the Ferrari has always been well known for its handling characteristics. Now, obviously, this is a brand new car to iRacing, so the drivers still may be getting used to the different setups. I haven't actually driven this new car on iRacing. I used to love the old car. It was always a go-to steady runner when you're running it, so I'm not sure what this new car and the differences between the old one is really.
Just see Gately improving there for Ferrari, just saying they're all outside the top 10. He manages to squeeze it up into 8th place, and Rafatea going into 10th place, but then displaced by another Ferrari driver. It was Mattea, his fellow countryman. Italian heading up into 10th place, and also Shartner was improving, getting his Porsche up into 9th. A few drivers on out laps now. Going to get pretty much just one flying attempt, and due to the slightly longer track that we've got here, they're not going to get as many laps in compared to what we've seen. Lap time just under 2 minutes. The best so far, 1:58.28. Carragher in the Porsche so far. Be interesting to see. There we go. As Petrovic just getting his Porsche up into 2nd place, and of course, last time out, didn't have a best of races by his own standards at Sebring, really, did he, Andy?
No, certainly didn't. And I believe he actually got his fuel calculator wrong. And I think he did a drive-through as well, so he was running up in 3rd place his first round in the GTM's running in Sebring, and really strong race throughout, and it just all unraveled for him at the end of the race there. So we know he's a very quick driver, and as obviously we can see here at the moment, he's currently in P2, only 200ths of a second off Carnegie in 1st place. But you know what we can have a look at is, just quickly before we come to the end of this, is the championship. Although we've only done the 2 rounds at the moment, at the top of the championship it's still quite tight there. We can see Matthew McBride from his 2nd place in Nürburgring and his 1st place at Sebring out front at the moment over Alberto Gandolfi in 2nd place and on 121. Then we got Stuart Windness, who won that first race in the Nürburgring, but had a pretty terrible time. I think he was 11th in Nürburgring, and at the moment he's not exactly getting used to this track. And obviously Tom Bingham there, hot on his heels, only 6 points behind him. So, and then as we go further down, pretty much they're all quite close. P6 and P7, only 1 point between them two. So, you know, it's still quite tight at the top of the championship, as you would probably expect after only 2 rounds. But it's good to see that the drivers are on equal pace, and there's not one person that's just sprinting away with the 2 victories at the moment.
Yeah, it's always makes it more interesting, obviously, when there's a bit closer at the sharp end. Now, roughly about a third of the way through the season now. For the rest of the season, we're coming up is we've got Hungaroring next week, followed by Okayama, Red Bull, Le Mans. That'll be interesting. I love that track. Followed by Barcelona, and rounding out the season, 14th of December at Daytona. Just watching Hofgaard at the moment for Porsche. What can he do? The session's coming to the end, so it doesn't look like there's going to be many improvements. I'm not sure he's going to get around in time, maybe, Andy.
Well, I think obviously our normal series, where if you joined us on the ARL and Apex, is that once it gets to the qualifying time, it just iRacing shuts down and that's it. But this season, as long as they're on their final lap or they've gone past the start finish before that 10 minutes is up, they can actually get the last lap in. So a bit of a change to this series to normal series we see on Apex, which I think is a good thing. You know, gives the opportunity for the drivers to give that last chance saloon of getting further up the grid, as we see Tom Bingham there, just slowly creeping him up. His best qualifying time of the season so far, P5, and obviously on a flyer at the moment. So see if he can actually get up there. His fastest time was a 1:57.3, I think it was in practice. So a little bit of a way off that at the moment. But I think qualifying I think you're always a little bit touchy because you don't want to get that off track, which puts pay to your lap. So the drivers all very touchy on the qualifying laps, and expect why we see a slower time on the qualifying than we do in the free practice.
Just seen Finagre for Porsche just improving his time there. He's going to be in 16th place. We've got a few drivers left to round out their laps. There's one of them, Ness, who's after that, flying start to the season for the Scot. Just see Hofgaard improving up to 13th there. He's not had the best of times and struggling a bit. And again tonight, so far in 19th, and doesn't look like he's improving too much. He's going to come across the line. Let's see what he can do. It's not massive difference between himself and Hup Kamel in Audi, and there you go. Up into 14th, a decent improvement for him, but I'm sure a bit lower down the grid than what he will be hoping for. Kalea, let's see what he can do. He's got Bingham ahead of him. Oh no, he's heading to the pits, so he's not going to improve. And Bingham's pulled out of his lap. Well, Hup Kamel just heading into the pits, so there you go. Nobody going to improve. The succession comes to an end there, so yeah, a bit of a difference really. Obviously with a longer lap time as well. Not the usual flurry of activity right at the end of the session that we're normally accustomed and used to in this series.
No, but like we said before, they got a 60-minute race ahead of them. It's not one on the first corner, so they've got that time to gain up. And obviously, as we saw their win this, his last two rounds have been pretty terrible. So maybe the two tracks that he doesn't really like going to. So maybe the rest of the season is the tracks that he enjoys. So
it's an all Porsche front row with Karangay and Petrovicius on the front row, followed by Gandolfi and McBride for Ferrari and BMW respectively. That's the first British. Bingham, he's on the third row with Janowski, Escalea and Malcharek on the fourth row. Gickling has Shatner for company, rounding out your top 10. Then it's Matea and Hubbard, followed by Hofgaard and Stuart Winness. Then it's Dario Refatea with Christensen alongside. Then it's Vinagre and Paul Collishaw. Up Kamel, already Audi in the field. He's 19, followed by Pedro. Then it is Manas with Gudici in 21st and 22nd. Then it's Manilov and Robson. Moving a bit further down the field now for the last few runners. It's Rankin, Palmas, Hubler, Kindness, Engelhardt and Whitehouse with Loxon. The last of the qualifiers and down at the back of the grid. Now, just a quick shout out to our sponsors for this league. Virtual Racing School, or VRS as they're probably more commonly known as to you and I. If you're looking to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs for road and oval racing setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. That's SDK Gaming. We're able to add a live virtual HUD to iRacing, show timing towers, enhance relative boxes, mini-maps, fuels, calculators, and much, much more. It's also the software that we use here at Apex Racing TV to bring you all of these lovely broadcasts on. So use it to make accurate team strategy calls on the fly, especially during endurance races or slightly longer races where pit stops are required like we've got here tonight. And then finally, it's Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs, set of guides, track guides, integration with VRS, one of our other sponsors, weekly group coaching sessions, plus much, much more. The cars just head off behind the Porsche 911 safety car. Now worth mentioning, obviously, the drivers are restricted on fuel. It's a 60% capacity of their petrol tank, so we will be seeing pit stops. Undoubtedly, a bit of pit strategy coming into play during the race, especially for some drivers who've maybe not had the best of starts, just looking to get into a little bit of clean air. Enter into the Casio triangle here, and then we'll be heading through the right, left, and then we'll be off and away. Here is Suzuka for round 3 of the Apex Racing GT Trophy. Wow, look at the start. Carrigate's already getting the real jump on absolutely everyone. And McBride tucks right up behind Petrovicius there as he moves to the left-hand side of your screen right now. You can see him in the blue BMW there, just hooking himself back in, but he's got Gandolfi just on the outside, but Bingham trying to cut through on the inside of Gandolfi, but he's going to be on the outside in the entrance into Snake. Just dropping a place there. That's allowed Janowski to come through there in his BMW, and right now he's being absolutely attacked, but Stuart Winness already up 3 places, man. An absolute blinding start there from the Scot. He looks to improve, and just a bit further down the field, Hukamel, he's locked in a battle there with Gudici. There's a bit of, they've got the spinner, that's is that Hukamel that who was off, it was one of the Audis, wasn't it?
Yeah, looked like Mata. I think it was Mata that was down there. I saw tumbling down the towers there, but great start overall. And Carnegie got a really good start at the start of the race, but seemed to he might have probably thought that he overshot the safety car there in front, so he pretty much his advantage he got off the line there was closed up at the end, but as we can sort of see there, he's extending the lap again. So we'll watch this incident here as we're on board with Scott Mata here, coming up to turn number 7, a treacherous turn 7. If you're on that outside, and a bit of an incident there with car number, in fact it's the only Audi, no it's not, it's Hoopla I think it was, so a little bit of an incident there coming up around to get into turn 7, which is a treacherous corner if you get on that outside. It's an off camber, and basically that grass just comes more and more inviting as you come down that turn 7.
So we've got a real battle just heading to the 2 Ferraris behind. There we go. There's Gudici, just getting trying to get past Collishaw. He's going to come up the inside into the Casio triangle, trying to get ahead. But he's going to be fighting back every step of the way. Now he's going to be on the inside, and undoubtedly we're going to see him hug that inside line there, trying to prevent Collishaw from fighting back. But don't discredit Hukamel, who's tucked up in the slipstream in his Audi, allowing these 2 Ferraris to clear the way for him. So we head to the helicopter cabin. There's a bit of a touch there, a nudge there. From Vinagre into Gudici, and that's really backed him up into Hukamel. You're going to see Kindness, he's just in that blue Audi just right behind them, looking to capitalise, but just backing out ever so slightly. And wow, Andy, that could have been complete disaster there into turn 1.
Yeah, it could have, but luckily managing to keep hold of it, Koloff there, and basically getting around the corner, but has brought him into the clutches of Hukameli in 17th place and Kindness. But you know, where we were talking about that pit lane starters, if we look, Kindness I think actually started from the pit lane, and he's up to P18 at the moment, so you know, he's made up some decent places off the grid, and maybe finally, as a commentator, we've actually got something right there that we can gain places up in the pit lane.
We've still got 57 minutes to go, so there's plenty of chance for us to undo that one incredibly easily. There's just drivers that have retired so far. It's only Kadea who didn't make the grid. Shartner is well down, already a lap down. Likewise with Hubler as well. The Porsche Ferrari drivers respectively. Right now we're looking at the BMW of Jemanovski, and he is hot on the tails of Gandolfi as they come down the back straight up over the crossover between the figure of 8 through 130R, full committal before they're going to come hard onto the brakes into the Caspio triangle here. And Jemanovski just looking to try and hook his way up behind the Ferrari, but further down the field, Mattea, he's got Loxon in the Porsche behind. He selected just to tuck back in again. You can see from that compromised entry line there, Andy, really seemed to lose quite a bit of speed through 130R.
Yeah, if you're on that outside line trying to go into there overtaking, then you are going to lose speed, because the guy on the inside can take it literally flat out in this car, but you got to make sure that you're on that inside curb to be able to make sure you don't get pushed out wide. But one thing with Janowski, as we were watching previously, he was currently in 5th place, seems very prone to having incidents during the race. Very quick driver, and we saw that in Sebring, and we saw it in the Nürburgring. You know, always up at the front end of the grid at the start of the race, but then always seems to have an incident that puts him right down the bottom, and then he fights back again, and it seems to do it like a yo-yo, really, is Janowski, as he has Bingham for company
cross you, Andy, but something's happened to Dario Raffatea. I'll just watch it. He's tumbling down the order. There he is. His car's parked. I think that's into Dunlop there. Something has happened to the Ferrari. Let's see if we can get a replay. Let's see. No, all's good so far.
Is it a hardware?
Maybe a hardware failure or something there, because it just brought the car to a stop in the best of positions, and nothing wrong. Didn't even crash out at all, as we see. Kindness, he's managed to get past. Well, he's battling alongside Hupka Mel as they enter into Spoon. Clearly getting the move done through the hairpin there. And that has elevated him up into 16th place, at 12 places already as the Audi driver. As he now looks to hunt down the orange Ferrari of Collishaw, who's just ahead. And Hupka Mel just coming up a bit of attack from Robson from behind. But up in front, it's Porsche versus Ferrari, as there you see Vinagre. GCZ Bulls just getting ahead of the table. Vinagre really losing out badly there. As, sorry, it's Christensen, just losing to Guidici. And now he's got Collishaw absolutely all over, and maybe picked up a slowdown or something, because he was going incredibly slow, lost tons of time, and now being absolutely harassed as they come across the start-finish line. We look back from Christensen. There's Collishaw's Ferrari. He's going to head to the inside, showing his nose up there, but elected just to back out and hop up behind his fellow Ferrari driver, Christensen. But Kindness, he's really looking racy as we on the bumper of him. It's Collishaw right ahead, and that is what 1/10 of a second looks like here at Suzuka through the snake. They move left, right, long. Oh, Collishaw just switching the rear end there, and this is going to give Kindness a chance. Just trying to sneak his way through, not being quite enough momentum to get his way through there. So they now head down to Degner 1 and Degner 2, and wow, this midfield battle is really starting to hot up, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. The cars are getting a lot more pace, a lot more grip now. As you see Kindness there getting a little bit out of shape with Collishaw coming around there, turn number 9, having to put the brakes on, which is now given.
Kamel, he tried to go around the outside there, and it's really compromised him. And Robson is now on the attack and did look to close up and maybe just try and sneak through up the inside, but quite seeming to get the traction off the corner. And I'll remind you, viewers, this battle is all happening over 13th place. Well, sorry, because Christensen's 14th, because Christensen's just pulled away from this group slightly, where they've been all battling hard and swapping places and trying to get one up over each other. Just moving a bit further towards the front of the field. It's Gandolfi. He's got Janowski harassing him behind, and then Bingham in that blue Porsche, and Maltrek isn't too far behind the other Porsche driver. You can see with the red front end of his car, but with 8 minutes gone, your order is Carragher, Petrovicius, McBride, Gandolfi, Janowski, Bingham, Maltrek, Gickling, Hofgaard, and Pajero rounding out your top 10 here so far. Now, for these guys, Andy, where they're sort of all following a line, can we expect maybe to see one of them drop off a bit early and take an earlier stop to get in some clean air, or do you think they're going to want to be tucked up behind another driver to either save fuel or just try and get the slipstream advantage on them?
Yeah, I think that's obviously the things that go through their head when they want to pit in. Now they'll have their initial strategy at the start of the race, thinking, right, I'm going to pit here, I'm going to go at this race, looking at this distance or this time. But obviously, you need to be looking at it on the fly to say, right, can I go faster than these drivers in front of me? Where would I come out after my pit stop, and would I have the clean air? And that's something that you're always going to take into account, as we can see the top half of the grid pretty much all following each other, and then we've got from P9 pretty much all the way down to P19 that's all in following a big long line. So it may pay for somebody to go in that earlier pit stop. I mean, I would expect to the early ones to come in around about 23 minutes for the early stops, and then obviously about halfway, about half an hour, that we'll get the main field with the odd exceptional driver going as far as they possibly can, looking at that fuel savings.
Here we go. Look, Kindness. He's on the attack, isn't he? He's really getting the exit off of Spoon. And right now, Collishaw is looking very, very vulnerable, but just not able to quite capitalise. Maybe just hooking back in. As you see it, down with the brakes from Collishaw. This is Kindness's chance. Going to be on the outside on the entry. They nearly bang wheels there. Just having to back out a little bit, and we see Collishaw just shut the door on the exit to Kindness there at the Casio Triangle. Wow. Now, as always, love to hear from you in the chat. As all, we've had an incident. Just trying to see this Engelhart's in there, Matea, and I think, was that Dave White? No, it wasn't. I think it might have been Hubler actually involved in that little coming together. Get a replay of exactly what happened here. They're all following through nicely. You've got Engelhart in the middle of this group. Now, as they enter into the Casio Triangle, oh, there you go. Connection from the Lambo behind to Medea. And that's meant... Yeah, and then the number 99, that's Hubler, yeah, having to take evasive action and go the old school way, as it were, through the Casio Triangle and miss out the... well, here comes Kindness. He's on the attack now. You can feel it, just... Absolutely, you can feel the pent-up frustration of having to follow Collishaw. But he can't seem to find a way past. I mean, it seems to me, Andy, like Kindness is quicker. Well, here he comes up the inside. No! Contact! Contact! Kindness gets onto the grass. It comes colliding into the side of Collishaw. And I was just about to say... Wow. I was just about to say, Andy, it seemed like Kindness was quicker through all the curves, but it's losing out a bit on the straight lines where he wasn't being able to get the move done in the slipstream, and a bit of frustration maybe growing there where he's just been following and feels like he's quicker and unable to get the move done.
Yes, coming up here into turn number 11, decides to take that inside line, but gets his left wheels onto the grass and just spins him out wide and goes into Collishaw. And I think it's exactly as you were saying there, Tim, is that the difference in setups of these cars, because it's not a fixed setup series, is that it looks like Collishaw's gone for the lower downforce and Kindness has gone for the higher downforce to get more turn and traction in the corners. And we've been seeing that lap after lap, and unfortunately there, Kindness, probably a little bit of red mist and frustration being behind Collishaw and just trying to put a car up into turn number 11 that wasn't really a space to do it. And as we saw there, he put his wheels onto the grass, which unfortunately spun him into Collishaw. But another one with Collishaw is that he always seems to have the bad luck as well. I think that's 3 races in a row that he's been involved in incidents where he was in the mid-pack race and coming off the worst there, but again getting hit by Kindness there coming into turn 11, so puts them further down now. So Kindness is in P19.
Andy, something's happened to Petrovic, because I've just watched, he's tumbling down the order like a stone. I think he's come off track somewhere, because all of a sudden he's gone from, I think it was his second or third, and then just found himself really falling down the order. Take a look. Oh no! He got it onto the grass there, and that's what's flicked him round. Luckily, due to the large runoff areas here, he's been able to keep it out the barriers.
Coming up to Degner 1, wasn't it? That's where he
yeah, through Dunlop that was, and wow. Obviously, love to always hear from you in the chat. Winner saying, let's go track Scotland. Well, unfortunately, we saw for Kindness. Maybe the kindest of contacts, but he's not looking too clever right now after that one. Go Vistaya Go from Carino. Arturas Kandulis, Petrovic's fan club reporting in. Good to have you on board as always. Here at Apex Racing TV and Esim Racing. Go Nuno Veragre. Here Rui Palmas. Good to have yourself along and supporting on. As we see, wow, Jaranovsky. Just trying to get past the Gandolfi, who really just trying to shake him off the sail, almost physically there. But this, they take the outside line through and just close the door and keep hold of that place. But just desperately trying to break that slip train there was Gandolfi.
Yeah, it looks like these guys here from 3rd all the way down to 6th place have pretty much got the same sort of speed as each other, so they're just following along in the train 14 minutes into this race, and I don't think there's really been a position change between these 4 cars, so very much on the same wavelength from a speed point. The setups might be slightly different. I know that Tom, from a bit of inside info, is running about a 10 rear wing on his car because he prefers to have the tighter actions through the corners, but obviously will lose a bit of speed on the top speed coming down the long straight. So as we can see there, he had a little bit of a gap, but closed up nicely on Janowski there in front of him, and I'm pretty sure that some of these other drivers would have gone the other way with a lower downforce wing to ensure top speed on the corners. But you know, this is a cat and mouse game we've got between these 4 drivers here: Gandolfi, Janowski, Bingham and Maltrek for that 3rd position at the moment.
It's incredibly close between these guys. A 2.5 covering 3rd down to 6th right now. It'll be interesting to see come the round of pit stops. Obviously, after leaving Petrovic's. Oh, here we go. Can this be? Jemnowski's move goes to the inside, just riding up on the curb. And Gandolfi saying, no, you're not having any of that. And that's allowed Bingham to close right up. And they're going to go 3 wide, and there's contact. There's contact between them all. Bingham, Jemnowski, and Gandolfi all coming together there, and Gandolfi's going to feel aggrieved and like the passenger, but this is now giving Maltrek, this is his chance to really try and gain some places. Obviously, from the spinning, Gandolfi's gained a place there. Now he's going to look to get past Jemnowski as Bingham come out probably the best from this all and has gained 2 places.
Yeah, sort of 3 car wide coming into that turn is not really going to watch. We'll look him on the replay here. So obviously we saw there that that was Gandolfi getting that outside line a little bit slower, and they literally all come into the corner at the same speed. So you've got Gandolfi taking that corner quite sharply, which obviously closed off Janowski, which then went into Bingham. So, you know, what Gandolfi should have seen there coming is the cars coming up on his inside and maybe took that wider line, but that's racing at the end of the day, and having 3 cars going into that corner doesn't work, as we just saw on screen.
3 definitely does not go into 1, and especially at one, probably the tightest part of the circuit here at Suzuka. And just approaching it. Oh, so we see good cheat sheet. Oh, no, there's another car spinning there. It's number 13. That's Christiansen, who's stuck in a very awkward, compromised position there. Dunlop. So something has clearly happened between those guys. Here's what happened to Christiansen. He lost it, maybe of his own accord. And oh no, he's had to take evasive action there, and that's what's cost him. Oh no, that's someone lucky. Oh, and then contact with the inside barrier. Well, everyone had to take evasive action through Dunlop there. Flying around that corner, presented by a Ferrari that is side on in the middle of the track. Well evaded from everyone, but just seeing right now, Petrovic's is on the recovery, and right in front of him, his fellow Porsche driver, Hofgaard.
You know that Hofgaard's very good on the defensive action. We saw that in Sebring in the last round with his fight with Tom Bingham. Literally kept Tom behind him for about 15 to 20 minutes. So we know that Hofgaard has got good defensive skills. So Petrovicius needs to make sure that he gets as he makes a move. That's a bit strange. He was Maltrak was fighting with Janowski at the front there, and he's managed to get caught back into the battle. So he must have had an issue on this lap or the last lap.
He's got to have come off track somewhere because like you say, he has lost an absolute ton of time. His last,
yes, he did. He came off track.
4 seconds.
Yeah, he came off track. I can see it in the time.
Into the Casio triangle, everything looking all good so far. Oh, he's gone onto the grass, and around he's gone. Oh no, and then into the barrier. That's going to be damage to the rear wing. That's going to compromise his straight line speed there, surely, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the worst place to actually have a spin, because not only you hit the wall there and obviously affect your aero, it's coming off a fast part of the track, which, you know, going from probably about 120 miles an hour down to nothing. And that's why he lost so much time on that part, because obviously he didn't have that exit speed and then was going slow off the start finish. So that's why it's currently down from that battle for third place, and now he's in the battle here for 9th place with Ingvari behind him in 10th. So one little mistake can put some massive pay to your race here at Suzuka, sorry.
It's, well, you can see that Petrovicius, he's managed to get past Maltrek. And Maltrek now clearly struggling for a bit of straight line speed as really closing up onto the back of his pitch. Oh, that was a bit strange. Petrovicius is really slow through 130R there, like incredibly slow. I'm not sure what has happened. Lithuanian has just seen Maltrek just heading to the pits there. That was a really strange one.
It'll be interesting to see if you can get to the end of the race from there. 20 minutes into the race, 40 minutes.
Well, here comes Petrovicius. He's locked in a battle with Vinagre. He's going to look to run it around the outside. It's Porsche versus Porsche. But the inside line coming off there for Petrovicius. Just blowing through, and that's kept hold of that place after looking incredibly vulnerable there. Obviously losing that whole bunch of time, but one driver we haven't really mentioned too much is Gickling for Ferrari. He's got himself up onto that battle with Gandolfi. He's sat in a little bubble of his own. There's Maltrek. Just see him just heading down. He's out into the pits, and he looks like he's going to come out in 25th, 26th place. Convenient.
52 seconds for competitive pit stop, so we can bench out against the rest of the team. But one person we haven't talked about is Alan Carnegie in first place. Currently got a 5-second lead over our current AM Championship standing winner of Matthew McBride in P2. I mean, that's an amazing advantage after 21 minutes of racing, 5 seconds ahead. So certainly come into this race having a very strong strategy with himself, and at the moment putting it to good use, being 5 seconds ahead of his nearest rival in second place.
I think it's always it shows what a dominant race you're having if you're out in front and you hardly ever get mentioned. I think, like I said, I think that's the first time we've mentioned him since the start of the race. As he's just headed off into the distance and built up that 5-second cushion as Gickling's managed to get past Gandolfi. It's looking at this battle right now. It's Hubbard. He's just looking to get his way past Manners. That's Hupkamel in front of them. Manners, the Ferrari meeting an Audi sandwich right now. Not too far enough, close enough even to get a move done. But talking of getting moves done, Gandolfi is really starting to feel the pressure from Hofgaard. He's just showing his nose up the inside there to let the Italian know that he's there. Just trying to distract him a little bit. To come through a snake right now. They'll be heading out on the last section of it through Dunlop shortly. Not going to be, definitely not close enough to make any sort of move down into the Degners. But Manners really closing in on the back of Hupkamel. Ferrari, of course, with its really strong straight line speed. Manners looking to really just force an error. There you go, and he's managed to do it. Forces an error from the German, who's lost 2 places. As Hubbard's managed to squeeze his way through, as we take another little look, Andy, of how this happened.
Yeah, coming down into turn 8 there, just getting it a little bit wide, carrying too much speed into it. Very easy mistake to do on this Suzuka track, coming in down into turn number 8, getting slightly out wide on the grass. Managing to keep it though, so still in the hunt for that battle, but lost 2 places in the effect of that coming off track there.
Well, talking of drivers who haven't really mentioned too much, Christian Engelhardt and Lamborghini there. That's Hubler in front of them. Hubler is up 10 places. Engelhardt is up 11, and they've really cutting their way through the field. So it helped a little bit from earlier incidents, but just managed to get their way through as just off camera. Hubbard's managed to get past Manners. That's for P11, but staying with this battle, let's see how they get on through 130R. The might of the two Italian manufacturers. And Engelhardt able to carry, looking a bit more confident coming through 130R there to come hard onto the brakes. Down into the Casio triangle. Ferrari just seeming to have that little edge over a straight line right now over the Lamborghini.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Obviously, Engelhardt here got the slipstream off down here, making the move down, goes to the inside into turn number 1, gets the move done really nicely. So, you know, great little bit of slipstreaming down there, the start finish, as we see Hubler going very wide there, coming into turn number 2. So, obviously got pushed out slightly there by Engelhardt in front of him, just pushing him off his normal racing line. And if you get on the outside of turn 1 and 2, you have to scrub off a lot of speed to make sure you stick on the track, because that grass again on the outside, and that's probably the story of this track with these corners, is that grass almost like sucks you in if you get on the outside of a lot of these corners, and you lose a lot of speed, and the drivers are coming cropper at that, and we're seeing the passes on screen.
There we go. So see two drivers who've had incidents and had damage to the car. They've both come in and taken repairs early on. Hines just getting past the Porsche of Malczarek there. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think, surely, Andy, they're going to be too early into the race to maybe get it home, or are they? They're going to be just on the narrow cutoff, aren't they, really?
Yeah, I forgot who it was. It was our first one, came in on 20 minutes. Now that is going to be ambitious if you can get to the end of the race without having to have a splash and dash. This would be the sort of area I would see somebody coming in for an undercut, as we see Janowski right onto the back of Tom Bingham here coming into turn number 1. So yeah, Bingham obviously came into contact with Janowski and Gandolfi into that turn number 19 into the chicane there, and that's why Tom's obviously in front at the moment, with Janowski just right behind him, just tracking him well, and I think with the difference possibly in setup that we should see a move coming down into 130R this lap on Tom maybe, but we're looking at the battle here, and Petrovicius is fighting back well after his incident that we saw early on. He was obviously fighting up there in 3rd place, and on a good fight back at the moment, and right on the back of Hofgaard for P7.
These two incredibly close. Look who's behind him, it's Vinagre. It's a battle of 3 Porsches. Come out of the Degners on the run, underneath the bridge, up to the hairpin. Hard onto the brakes, and all evenly matched so far, but Petrovic just seemed to close up a little bit under braking, but Hofgaard getting the much better exit and really pulling away there and pulling a couple of attempts over the fellow Porsche driver. Just head a bit further down the field is Medici. The earlier incident, that is Robson behind him, and Engelhardt, who's close right up to the back of these guys. See Hubler, he's dropped where he was previously battling with. Ferrari driver, he's really dropped back after that poor exit. But even so, Engelhardt really getting a move on here and getting the hammer down. You see him on the attack, tucked up into the slipstream. The Ferrari is going to head to the inside on the run up to 130R. They're going to go side by side through here. Hold tight, everyone. No, he just elects to back out of it there dramatically. And that's going to allow him to just cut through us. Oh, Hofgaard, he's into the pits there. Let's just see Stuart Widness, a bit of damage on the front of his BMW, and be disappointed by that. Oh, he's been in some sort of incident then, it looks like here, Andy.
Yeah, so we're just self-spin here and probably hit the wall. No. So is it his rejoin?
No, he must have had it from earlier on, maybe just where he was, I'm guessing, where he's obviously stuck in the middle of the pack, and maybe just a bit of banging bumpers as you see also Malinov hits into the pits as well, and I'm guessing that's what must have caused it.
Yes, we also see here Vingari's managed to get in front of Petrovicius, I think.
Yeah, he has. Yes, somewhere off camera where we're looking at the previous instance, he's managed to sneak his way through. He probably aided by the pit from earlier, and here we go. He's already got the move done there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Petrovicius just trying to fight back through on the outside. That's obviously a bit more challenging for the drivers. You see there, backing out of it a bit, and where he's not able to get the momentum coming off the corner.
That was a strange move from Engelhardt, though, because he had that inside line coming down to the 130, which is the better line to be taken if you are too wide, because the car on the outside is going to have to slow down to try and make that corner. So a very strange pull-out, really, move there we saw from Engelhardt as we watch Gandolfi all over the back of Gickling here for 5th place coming through the 130 going up to the chicane. And we've got our race leader in for his pit stop from 1st place, so we'll see what his time is in the pits. Around about 52 seconds is in and out of the pit lane, so it'll be interesting to see what his time is compared to the other competitive times.
It's absolutely smack on half race distance, so your order obviously was Kangay before he came into the pits. There's McBride, Bingham, Janowski, Gandolfi, Vinagre, Petrovicius, Suzuka, Merle. See Pajero and Hubbard there in the pits as well, and rounding out your top 10 here at Suzuka at half race distance. 15 laps completed so far.
These drivers are catching up on Matthew McBride in front. It was around about 2 seconds between McBride and Bingham, but the time seems to be coming back. So this pushing that Janowski's doing on Bingham at the moment is helping these two claw back the lead or the advantage that Matthew McBride, who is currently our race leader after our previous race, Alan Carnegie, has gone into the pit. So certainly could be seeing a battle between these three ensuing very shortly.
It is this Petrovicius just really closing up. See him almost making a bit of a lunge there, a gap that wasn't there into the hairpin. What can he do? I mean, these two really need to be working together if they really want to start to close up on the battle ahead of them. It's Gickling and Gandolfi. So you watch Carragher just trying to get up the inside of Mattia there, just getting his nose in. He's not going to get the run off. There's Mattia just shutting the door there on the Porsche.
This could go pay to his lead actually as well. You know, he's been tucked up behind and slowed down by Matthias, and that lead that he had over McBride of 5 seconds is probably going to get eroded here.
We're going to find out, because look, from the lead, it was 2nd place before the pit stop started. Matthew McBride, BMW driver, is into the pits. So we watch the Swiss driver just really stuck here. He seems like he's hitting a brick wall behind the Ferrari and has no answer for it right now. What can he do? Can he keep hold of that lead? Bride, he is currently having more fuel put into the car. Just trying to keep one eye. He's still stationary, so I'd imagine that he's going to take back the lead. Yeah, because that car is still stationary. Been stationary for quite a while, actually, it seems. He's having a much longer stop compared to the rest. It's replacing the tyres as well.
Right. Very strange tactic there.
Yeah, I'm incredibly surprised, because normally the tyres, you can get, over in a normal endurance race, you can get 2-3 stop stints out of them, can't you, Andy?
You normally can, and we very rarely see the drivers obviously changing tyres in any of these hour races previous. So whether that's a mistake on his part that he didn't uncheck them, so that's why his tyres are getting changed, or he's decided that BMW is actually tuning up tyres, and if I get it changed, the 20 seconds that I'm going to lose for changing my tyres, I can make back with my pace advantage towards the end of the race. But one person that's getting really held up at the moment, it seems like Alec Carnegie, obviously being paid, trying to get up on the inside there, but Matthias giving him a real headache there for at least a lap and a half, managing to get away now, so he's got a bit of clear air in front of him as Alan at the front, and obviously gaining that advantage there where we saw Matthew going into the pits.
Petrovicius, there we go. He's managed to get his way past Portuguese driver Vinagre, and that has got him up in 6th. See, there we go. The top 2 they are in. Bingham and Jemanovski. Also, Gekling and Gandolfi following in as well. Let's just keep one eye on Carragher and see what he can do, because yeah, Petrovicius, he's in as well. So yeah, Vinagre and Manners carrying on round, but where is your leader? Before the stop started, is he going to keep the lead? I think he is, because nobody's on pit exit at the moment. Well, Bingham and Jemanovski are, but they're not going to be fast enough out, surely. There you go. You just see him on the right side of your screen, and yeah, that's easily back up into the lead as see Mattia just coming through there.
I think the gap previous to the pit rounds from these guys was around about 8-9 seconds behind the race leader. So it'll be interesting to see on the next lap how close that gap has been caught up with, and how much Carnegie was affected there by the Porsche and Mateus in front of him, just possibly holding him up slightly. So it'll be interesting to see after this round of pit stops, as we see it, the majority of the cars coming in now. The top 3 at the moment, Vingray, Manners and Guidicini, are the 3 yet to pit within this race. So it'd be interesting to see. Greg Hubler has pitted, but I believe he's going to have to do it again, because that would have been an earlier for some incidents. So Greg Hubler, although showing that he has pitted already, I believe he's going to have to pit again. So the top of the pit stoppers at the moment is Alan Carnegie in 5th place.
One driver really to lose out is Matthew McBride, who's stuck behind Maltrek, who has already stopped. So by electing to take tyres on board, he's now found himself in a whole heap of traffic. He's clearly faster than, as you see him just clearing through past one of the back markers there. But yeah, just having a bit of a look at the temperatures here, Andy, and track temperature is 30 degrees, so though it is on the warmer side, surely not enough over short distance to chew through those front tyres. No. As you see McBride really absolutely all over the back of Maltrek right now, trying to find a way past.
This is going to be really hurting Matthew McBride, whether that was a planned tyre change or not. The problem he's got now is he's caught up in this mid-pack race with all the cars that are going to be slower than him, and causing him to lose even more time over the guys in the front of the pack. So this could really hurt him coming in. He just cannot get that move done at the moment over Maltrek in front of him.
I was just about to say, oh, looks like he's going to finally get past him, and no. As you see, the top 5, they've all headed to the pit. Hubler as well, that you mentioned as well, Andy. He's headed in as well as Rankin. And Carragher coming back out on top, but right, you've got to feel for him. Really, really suffering here. And it looks like at the moment, with just over a third of the race left to go here at Suzuka in round 3. There's going to be someone different from BMW winning it, and someone who's not Scottish as well. So always good to see. Yeah. So a bit of variety in that, and talking of the Scot, McBride still can't find a way past, can he? As Maltrek is making that Porsche 911 pretty much as wide as the track, really, isn't he?
Definitely. I mean, the BMW, as we know, is very quick in a straight line, but you know, this track is probably not more tuned to the faster straight line cars. It's more tuned to the cars that get right up behind him. You're going to try and make a move on the outside here of turn number 11. I don't think he's going to get it done again, because Maltrek's got that inside line. Yes. Is he going to get it done?
Well, let's find out. He's going to want to drive off the corner, and he's going to get the move done finally. After laps of fouling that Porsche, McBride has managed to get his BMW out in front. That's whether he can hold on to it, because it looked like Maltrek seems to have the better straight line speed, but Porsche and BMW just heading up into second place. It's Bingham currently still holding on to it over Jemanovski. 4 attempts separating these guys right now, and I think the race to go as well.
Yeah, these two
I'm
are
sure we're going to see these two
battle.
swap. Well, here we go. It could even change here because look at that gap's closing. Jovanovski is just showing his car to the inside. They're just trying to distract Bingham, and it's worked. Bingham runs wide into turn 1, and that has gifted Jovanovski that second place as Bingham tries to fight back there through in the entrance to the snake, but unable to get his Porsche up alongside. BMW went for Jovanovski there, and wow. There we go, talking of another BMW, McBride just trying to get his way through the field. That's Pajero Banyard for Lamborghini, who also runs wide, similar to what we've just seen, and nearly coming into the contact with Maltrek there on the rejoin, but just managing to avoid each other, Andy. That could have been a bit of a disaster there.
Yeah, that was probably lucky for McBride that Pajero got that turn 1 terribly wrong, because again he was struggling to get past him. So at the moment he's currently sat in P10, 31 seconds off the lead, and as you said, about 20 minutes left of this race. And just looking at his lap time, so his lap time was a 2 minute, and the front runners are doing faster lap times of 2:05. So them tyre changes at the moment are not coming into advantage, and these back markers at the moment that seem to be really hurting Matthew McBride, our current championship number 1 position and 10th place. So if it finishes as it is, it'll cut into his lead at the top of the championship, which is probably not that of a bad idea, and it just pulls them all back into line, and it makes it really tight at the top of the amateur. But you know, at the moment the biggest battle probably is that second place between Jovanovski and Bingham. You know, only 0.4 of a second between the two cars. At the moment he has lost a little bit of time, Carnegie, from where he was after the pit stop, but still maintaining that 5-second gap over the second place driver on field. And we're just watching Gandolfi and Kindness, who's had an absolutely storming race, up 22 positions from where he started. So he is the top of the pit lane starters, I believe, going in. He didn't have a pit lane, but I think he just chose to because he didn't set a time in the qualifying. But he's having an absolutely storming race here. The top Audi driver currently sat in P6, up 22 positions. I mean, wow, what a race.
It isn't. Obviously, remember as well, he had that contact earlier on as well. So he did pit early. Now, this is what was funny enough. I was just about to come on to Kindness when we picked it up and you started speaking about him, Andy. Is that he pitted on lap 8. Now, on average, the rest of the field, we see him just nearly getting up the inside of Gandolfi there. The rest of the field stopped around about lap 17 on average. So 9-10 laps later than Kindness. Can he get that Audi home? That is the question.
I very much doubt it from that place, so that's probably why he's up 22 places. But you know, he's still taking that pit lane, so he's on equal terms with the rest of the drivers around him. He might have to go in for a splash dash. Obviously only went in on lap 8 where the rest went in on lap 17, so must be getting down towards the low end of the fuel, which be a bit unfortunate for him because he's certainly been on a charge and has shown pace all races this evening around this track. But he won't have to take a lot of fuel, so maybe he won't lose too much place. But we watch battle here for second place with Tom Bingham just tucked up behind Janowski. But that power of that BMW will probably negate that slipstream effect. But then Tom will close up on the tight twisty section. But they're the harder places to try and get the passing move done. So I think Tom might struggle here in third place to try and find that opportunity unless a mistake is done by Janowski in second place. But these two having a titanic battle all out on their own, you know, 5 seconds to the first place and about 14 seconds to the fourth place. So these two out on their own, just having their own little battle within the race tonight. But we've only got 17 minutes left of this race to go, so it'll be interesting to see where this one goes.
It will be, and Bingham clearly ruining that mistake where he went wide at turn 1 and gifted the place to Jovanovski. And this, you know, with Winnes and McBride so far down the field, this is a big opportunity for Tom Bingham to really have, you know, a bumper points day, really make hay while the sun is shining here at Suzuka and close up that gap to the front in the championship. And I mean, surely he's going to really want to find a way past Jovanovski. And I mean, from what you were saying, Andy, is just applying pressure to Jovanovski. Is that going to be the only way he can find a way past, potentially?
Well, possibly. I mean, Jovanovski's had a really clean race so far, but we haven't seen that in previous rounds, so it'd be interesting to see if he can handle the pressure as we watch Matthew McBride getting right up to the back of Manners here and trying to do the same move that we saw earlier on, going around the outside of turn 11, which we see he's got great pace coming out there, but Manners gets a good run out there, so side by side. But I think that McBride will take that place now, just managing to get his car in front. And
but look, Manners is now under threat, isn't he? Look, he's got Malchek right behind. He's going to try and get up the inside with his poor Shinta Spoon just leaning on the tyres there, and he's managed to slot his way through. But Manners, in the space of 2 corners, has lost 2 places to McBride and Malchek. Ferrari is going to be really ruining inside the cockpit of that Ferrari right now. This McBride looks to chase down Hubbard. His fellow Brit is roughly about 2 seconds up the road in his Audi. So it's not, with 15 minutes left to go, that is possible for McBride to try and catch up, as I'm sure he's probably spotted that Tom Bingham is up in 3rd place, and he doesn't want him to have as many points, to get many more points over him in the championship, as we were just talking about. And all the more reason why Bingham needs to try and find a way past Jovanovski, with Wayne McBride is coming back through the field.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at the points of the people that were in front of Tom on the start. So Stuart Wilness was just in front of him, only 6 points ahead. So I mean, at the moment, he's not even in this race. I think at the moment he's certainly another round that he's not had a great one. Albert Gandolfi, who is 2 places behind Tom at the moment, and obviously Matthew McBride, who's in P9. So. If the positions stay as it is, it'll certainly close up that championship at the top of the table, and will also be a good point off for Jovanovski, who's brilliant. But we see Petrovicius again coming into the pits here at the end, towards the end of the race. I think he's got a drive-through here as well. So
it looks it, doesn't it?
Picking up the penalties. So if you get 16 incident points, you will have a drive-through penalty. So looking like he's come to a victim of that. And then after the 16, it's only 8 more. So he just needs to be careful that he doesn't lose any more time. But again, 2 races in a row that he's come from, the top of the field, and we see him down there in 23rd position.
We do, and really struggling today. And likewise as well, you're saying about Winness, he's all the way down in 27th place. A race that we're expecting after winning round 1 at Nürburgring. Definitely not his day at the races, but Bingham is really starting to close up. Just not able to find the key to unlock the door to getting past Bingham. So getting past Jovanovski even.
It's a battle of tyres, I think, Tim. I think it's going to be the battle of the tyres here, and who's managed to save their tyres into the last 14 minutes of this race. Because we do know that BMW does use a lot of the tyres that we've heard from Matthew McBride previously when he's been in, is that, the tyres are pretty much shot at the end of the race. So it'd be interesting to see if that comes into play towards the latter half of the stages. But looking at our YouTube chat, McLogle76 saying that clearly a mistake there by Matthew McBride to go for tyres in the race. I probably tend to agree with you. Obviously got a bit of an issue with back markers that's put paid to his moving up the field and not really showing the speed on them new tyres either, Tim. So pretty much the same place as the front runners at the moment.
It is. It's struggling a little bit here, and just looking through the field, this is probably our, one of the closest battles we've got on track right now. And kindness, where we were saying earlier about how he only stopped on lap 8, he's got to surely be coming in soon. I mean, as much as he wants to stay on board with this battle, as we see Gandolfi just heading up the inside over Gickling. They're both going to run wide. What can Kindness do? Can he look to come through? As Gandolfi's got that position, Kindness just getting past Gickling there, and Gickling, Scandinavian, is going to really feel the grief on that one. But here comes Kindness. He's got the charge. He's got the momentum where he didn't have to slow down. Can he run it round the outside of Gandolfi? Oh no, he's lost it. He lost the car on entry. A massive tank slapper. The car twitched. Where we weren't sure whether he needs to come in again. He's definitely going to be coming in again to repair that damage. I think that's put pay to that speculation, hasn't it, Andy?
Yeah, it certainly was. Had a really good run off that. I was going to say that, but you obviously got there. You can see him here just getting all over the back of Gandolfi, taking that outside line coming in. And I think his right wheels just come onto the grass as we see it there. And he tries to turn it in and just takes the car off and unfortunately spits him off at 130R. And yeah, I think that's going to be extensive damage. So it'll be... yeah, he's gone into the pits there. We can see him just going down the timing tower. But I don't know if he's taken his fast repair already because he did have damage at the start of the race. So I'm not sure if he has got, or as we see him come out of the pit exit, it may have been another drive-through for kindness because he was he even stopped? Ooh.
That looked... I'm not too sure
inside of that Porsche.
I was going to say, I thought that was going to be race ending for the pair of them there. It's looking a bit dramatic, but Bride just trying to find a way. Well, he's managed
Maltrek's got back in front, yeah.
He has at some stage, with all the action that's been happening, he's managed to get his way past, and Bride once again finding himself behind that Porsche of Maltrek, and we've got 10 minutes to go, so to take you through your top 10, it's Carrier who's hardly mentioned in all race. He's such a quiet race out in the front. 5 seconds clear. The battle for second is Jemnowski and Bingham. Fourth is Gandolfi with Gitlin, who's dropped a little bit back. As just seeing Bingham just trying to distract Jemnowski there. Hubbard, he is in 6th. Maltrek and McBride, they are 7th and 8th, with Manners just behind them in 9th. Finagre is just behind Manners to round out your top 10, but wow, is this going to change? McBride, he's heading to the inside. He's going to have the pace, and wow, Maltrick just leaning a little bit on the grass there, and I was worried it's going to be a repeat of what we just saw happen to Kindness, but Maltrick needs to be really careful now, because all of a sudden, Manners is right up onto his gearbox.
Yeah, these three are happening. Oh,
he's heading to the pits.
It's very strange. He must have underfueled his car. So we'll see if he has a drive-through here or if he does actually go into his pit box.
It's got to be... Well, we've got Hubbard in as well, who had already stopped. And they're taking on sufficient fuel. Maybe these drivers got to stop again then. Because, well, no, they are heading to their pit boxes. So that is a bit of a strange one because their stops weren't slow at all. So... I'm not too sure what that is all about for those two drivers, but that has cost them dearly as they fall down the order. Malchek must have been a splash and dash. So clearly had miscalculated fuel somewhere, you know, somewhere wrong. And see, Hubbard, he's still stationary, so I'm not too sure what's happened to his Audi. So we just head back to this battle for second. Here comes Bingham. On the entrance to Spoon, they're going to be side by side. What can Bingham get done? He's going to look for the cutback on Jemanovsky, but not just quite able to hook it up. They head round the second half of Spoon there. I thought that might have been a moment there for your teammate Bingham to get the move done there, Andy.
Yeah, he's getting that ever closer to the back of Janowski now coming into this last stage. Only 8 minutes left for Tom to try and get that second place position, but certainly is giving himself the best opportunity to try and get this done here and get his first second place. Obviously came third last week in Sebring, so he will not be too disappointed with another third, but really can see that second place in front of him and really wants that second place. But you know, at the moment, Janowski's just not buckling under that pressure that Tom's applying to him.
Oh, definitely. See what's happened to Manners here. Just drops a little bit back. Oh, no, has he got onto the AstroSurf? Yes, he has. And we'd say the car, and oh, a bit of a bang with the barrier. Back rear wing, and Boots looking too clever for Manners. Just look at Petkovicius, and he is really closing in on the back of Rankin, and you've got to feel for Petkovicius because he's had a really eventful race, but not the positive sort of eventful that he would have hoped for heading to Suzuka.
No, I think that's where the real benefits of having a spotter in these races, if you can get them, because they'll be able to calculate the fuel behind the scenes to see how much fuel you need, and be able to do that. Because obviously you sort of calculate your average fuel usage throughout the race in the practice and so forth, and so you have an idea of how much fuel you're getting, because you want to put in the least amount of fuel. But if you're caught up in battles and constantly defending and changing your normal racing style, that can use more fuel up. And we're seeing these drivers here now have miscalculated the fuel that they do need in this race.
Well, and it's that McBride who's run wide there. Let's just see Jemnossi just coming through. Oh, it's 61, yeah.
That's Stuart Winus.
That is, yeah.
He's lapped.
His day goes from bad to worse for the Scot. What you're saying about fuel, Andy, that's a lovely segue to the reason why you should use SDK Gaming, because of the fuel calculator on there, which works out not only by laps, but also from time as well. So, lovely little segue into one of our sponsors for this series there for you. As we just see, Bingham, I mean, he's got 5 minutes left, Andy. I know never say never, but I just feel that this could be it. As I've just spotted, obviously where Hubbard came into the pits earlier, he is still stationary. Or no, is he coming again? It's clearly not right with that Audi, but Robson's also in as well. So a few splashes.
Miscalculating this race.
As I said, Andy, all the more reason
all the more
they
reason.
need SDK Gaming for the fuel calculator.
I'm giving you these ins here. Look at the great commentator
You
I
are.
am. I'm giving you
You
these ins.
Brilliant segue to our sponsors. As we just see Gudici and just being not this photo country not too far behind him, but talking not too far behind, Pajero just closing in on the Ferrari of Manilov. What could he do on the run down to turn one? It always looks from this camera angle like they're a bit closer than what they really are. So they run into turn one there. It's almost a little bit deceptive. Sometimes you think that, oh, they're going to get past here, but not quite. They're not quite close enough, and I think maybe just trying to distract the driver in front of them.
Yeah, I was just looking at kindness in the car behind to see if he managed to use his repair up or if he hadn't, and we saw in them shots there he's still got an extremely bent rear wing, so obviously used his fast repair earlier on and just took the fuel. As we look on board, you can see his rear wing there pretty much still mashed up on the right hand side of his car. So obviously the drivers do get one fast repair during the race. As we watch Malikov making a move there, very ambitious move, getting a little bit wide over Pajero, but managing to save it and keep that position. So a great move there coming into the Degners for Malikov over Pajero.
Yeah, getting wow, nearly was that even contact there between Manilov and Matea? That was incredibly close, and the bruised and battered Audi of Kindness just in the background there. But on the entrance to Spoon, it's getting tasty here between the Italians. The two Ferraris, Gudici just trying to run it a little bit wide there, and Matea is absolutely all over the back of him, knows that he's starting to run out of time. We have just under 2 minute lap time here for the leaders. Where they're about to see, you're probably going to look for a couple more laps here at round 3 in Suzuka. Oh no, that's Petrovicius. No, Petrovicius, sorry, he's oh no, he's got a feel for him. Everything just seems to have gone wrong for him today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Zero Force Racing on the chat saying, Engelhardt, good job on a P8. So yeah, he was one of my pit lane starters at the start in P8. And
so 21 places, Andy.
Yeah, exceptional drive. So at least something that the commentators has come to fruition, that pit lane start at this race is probably not a bad idea. And as we can see there with Engelhardt managing to get up to P8 from a pit lane start at the start of this race, so a great race for him. But we'll rejoin this battle here, ensuing battle for probably the last since the pits, 5 laps before the pit stops. Yeah, 6 laps beforehand. I think
they've they've pretty much been. Well, it was a bit more, a few more cars in with them. Godolphi was in with them, for instance, and obviously McBride wasn't too far in front of them. But these guys have been battling for what's basically the last hour, the whole race.
Gonna go for a move?
No, maybe he's probing his Bingham. He's
Close,
just
isn't he?
testing and just trying to squeeze something out of Jemianowski, who just
Got a
hugs the
good run
inside
here, though.
line there.
He's got a
There we
good
go.
run.
1 lap to go. This is it. It's all or nothing for Bingham. He's going to try round the outside as he pulls alongside, but it's not going to be enough here. Looks to try and maybe get the switch back, but no, it's not. Jemianowski just shuts the door firmly on Bingham. They come through Snake, and Kindness just heading up the inside of Pajero there. Despite all of his woes, despite him being incredibly bruised and battered, Audi R8, he's managed to get himself at 15 places. And just see Malchek just trying to defend actually, sorry, from Manilov there, who's managed to get his way through. Take him hard onto the brakes, into the Casio triangle. I'm trying to just keep one eye on a few of the last lap battles. It's these guys, they're all at it again, and Bingham, it's getting spicy, this one, as he knows he's probably got maybe what?
He's basically got the 130R, hasn't he? He's got the 130R and the
Casio triangle.
Casio triangle to try and get this. So he just needs to stay right behind him to get the good move out of this corner.
Could this be it through Spoon? So Jemianowski's gone heavily defensive there. This is going to play into Bingham's hands. On the run out of Spoon. Can he do it? He's got that good exit. He's going to be tucked up behind. As we just see our leader, he's just about to come through. 130R, you can see in the background there, just lined up. This is going to be it, all or nothing. Full commitment at full chat from Bingham. As Jemianowski just jinxing left and right there, just trying to deceive Bingham, who's going to try and get around the outside, but he's not going to do it. As we watch Karanjay, the Swiss driver for Porsche, comes home for the first non-BMW winner for the season, but BMW going to come over the line in second place, with Bingham having to settle for that last place on the podium, like he did last time out at Sebring. Gandolfi's going to roll across the line in fourth place for Ferrari, and Gickling as well. You haven't mentioned too much, has finished up 4 places. Matthew McBride, it's not been his day at the races for Team Scotland.
Yeah,
so Track Scotland, and wow, as we see Vinagre and Engelhardt, who up 21 places. You said earlier, and he started from the pits, comes home in 8th place. Just watch Mattia and Gudici. Nothing's going to change between those two guys. Never say, never know. Oh, as he heads to the pits. Now, is that wise? Because he's only just got to get across the line, and that is it's costing him. That's cost him dearly, and he's going to come home in 14th.
I don't get that unless he got the incident level. So we're seeing the results to see if he comes down lower than P14th. But you know, the story of that race was probably the battle there for second between Janowski and Bingham, all the way for probably, like you were saying, about 40 minutes of this race. Them two battling out. Alan Carnegie, I mean, what a race! Like you said, you know when a driver's had a really good race when he doesn't get mentioned a lot on the broadcast because he's that far out in front. So an imperious drive there by Alan Carnegie in first place, and pretty much 5 seconds he maintained that gap after the round of pit stops, even being held up by rear markers as we saw there. But one of the big probably howlers mistake, and Matthew might come into the booth to say that, is that change of tyres there from Matthew McBride, that he was in a steady second place coming into the round of pit stops, changed his tyres and ended up down in P11th, and then got in fact it was P16th, and then got massively held up by rear markers, which put paid to his race there. So was on for a second place finish, and unfortunately finishing down there in 6th. But it'll make it interesting there for the championship points overall.
Definitely, and a unique way to end the race. And got someone for you, Andy, as we wait for the official results to come in. I've got our race winner for you here in the combos for you, Andy. Take it away.
All right, then, welcome to the commentary box. You didn't really get a lot of mentions on the stream because you were so far in front of that race. I mean, Did you expect to have that much pace around this track?
Hello, firstly. No, not really, because I just joined practice like 50 minutes before and didn't make one lap with anything but a set. So I just tried some sets in the 50 minutes before the race, and then yeah, it was quite easily. I didn't expect that.
No, I mean, from start to finish, what was interesting is the very start of that race. So you got a really big jump on the rest of the field. And it seemed like you slowed down towards the end of the first corner where the field then got back off you. Did you think that you got in front of the safety car? Is that why you slowed down a little bit?
I just don't make that much first thought. So I just was unsure that I must hold it till the green light, because in the officials they just thought when they won. So I was like, should I go or not? And then I was like, maybe it was too early. And then I just braked a little bit, and then I was like, no, I go for it. So yeah.
I thought that's what happened at the start, because you got a really good start, a jump start at the start, left the rest of the field for dead, and then we saw them all close back up on you. I think he's got in front of the safety car there. That's why he slowed down. But that was probably the only bit of incident that you had all through the race. I mean, this is your first race in this championship, I believe. So it's always good to start off your GT Trophy AM series with a win.
Yeah, for sure. So I did can join the first 2 rounds because I have other things to do. So yeah, it was a good start. Really good start.
Put your good points. We've got the Hungaro ring next. Is that a track that you know quite well, considering it's quite new as well?
Yeah, I just tried like one time when the Furious are there, but it's not really my track because it's too. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get it right the first time I was there, so I just will look at it.
Well, I mean, you thought that probably about this one, and you were commanding at the front of the field, 5 seconds ahead of the rest of your compatriots in second and third place battle. But an imperious drive for yourself. Before we let you go, mate, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to Tom and Matthew, because they just in the start they tried to come to me, and I just want to say I didn't know what's the fuel limit, so that's why I pitted early, because I think we can make more fuel than the 60 liters. So I was a little bit confused.
All right, but no, you had a great race, and we look forward to seeing you in the Hungaro ring and see if you can do it again, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Alan. So there's our race winner for here at Suzuka. His first race in the championship, Tim, and he was imperious.
It was absolutely a dominant force for him, and like you're saying, Andy, that where you don't speak about someone so much, it just shows how dominant and how comfortable they've had it out at the front. As you said, winning by for 5 seconds, got that lead early on and maintained it throughout the race. And right now we're joined by Matthew Wright, who the BMW driver came home sixth, down a couple of places from where he started. Obviously, last time out, Matthew, you took the win for BMW at Sebring and the second place at Nürburgring as well. Didn't seem to fit from the commentary box, at least. It just didn't seem to be like it was your day at the races today.
Yeah, it's a new track for me, and I actually felt like my pace was okay. Once I got past a couple of cars and I got into second, Alan was, he was pulling away, so I knew that was out of the question. And I decided to pit a bit early just to avoid any more fighting. But I have a new PC and a fresh install of iRacing, and it defaulted to change my tires. So I spent a lot of time in the pits getting a fresh set of tires, which put me down to 15th place or something like that. So
That
was pretty frustrated
answers
after
my
that.
next question, because it seemed like it was a bit of a bizarre one. I mean, I know it was a little bit warm out today with I think it's about 30 degrees centigrade track temperature, but even so, it seemed a bit dramatic to be changing the tires because it would have overheated them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it was a bit of a mixed bag the whole way through. I mean, did you when you obviously had to take those tires through no fault of your own in some ways? Did you sort of get a bit worried as you saw yourself? You came out, I think, was it somewhere around about 18th place after the pit stops? It was really down the order.
Yeah, it was really down. And I came out the pits and I was really frustrated. So straight away, my lap times are even slower than what they were when I was on the scrub tires. But I just kept it calm and I just slowed it down. I just thought if I finish in 10, I'll be happy. And luckily, a lot of cars did go off the track and I had to make a few passes. So relatively speaking, I'm pretty happy to still get 6th. But I think second or third I should have had second or third, really.
Definitely. And it just didn't feel like the best day for the whole of Track Scotland, really, with
Yeah.
Stuart finishing all the way down in 23rd
Yeah.
and it being lapped as well. Really had to feel for him and Adam as well. And Kindness being involved in a few incidents, but still somehow managed to bring the Audi home in 12th place. So, yeah, a bit of a more challenging circuit for the Track Scotland team. Obviously, next time out, we head to Hungaroring. You hoping for much better fortunes around there, or is it a track that you don't really know so well?
I've done one of the the iRacing official races there, and I've done one of the VRS endurance races. So it was in the Audi, but I'm hoping it's a better track for me, and I think it's a better track for the BMW as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The BMW definitely loves the curbs, and there's plenty of those around the
Yeah.
Hungaroring. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Well, you guys, I think the two replays or highlights I've watched is the commentary is brilliant. It's a really good series. This.
Definitely. Thank you very much. So, Matthew Bryder came home in 6th place for BMW.
Yes, thanks.
So, next person I think we need to speak to, well, yourself needs to speak to, Andy, is Tom Bingham, 3rd place on the podium for Porsche.
Tom, welcome to the commentary box. I bet you're a bit sweaty after that one, mate.
I am, because I didn't plug in my fan. I forgot yesterday when I was messing around with my bloody wheel. I unplugged my fan, and yeah, you never know. It happens. So yeah, I'm a little bit leaking right now.
I mean, you had an epic battle there with Janowski throughout the majority of that race. It was a bigger group at the beginning, but he was always there with you from the start of the race. I mean, you were leading, and then a slight mistake going into turn 1, which gave the position back to Janowski. But I mean, you were just right on his tail all the thing. One thing I've got to give to Janowski is that he didn't buckle under the immense pressure you were giving. Could you see an opportunity to get past him in any part of that race when you were behind him?
The big problem was, honestly, on lap 8, coming towards the back half of the track, I had a really good run on him down the straight. And then we had a collision going into the last chicane, which unfortunately took out the green thrower. I'm not sure who that was. Yeah, thank you. So then after that, there was probably into the first turn, I probably could have done him, and then maybe into turn 2 because he was going very wide there, and I had a really good run on the brakes. After the collision earlier, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to, send it and ruin his race. I just tried to wait for him to make a mistake, and he did really well. His defending was awesome, and yeah, great driving by him. He deserved it.
Yeah, you certainly put him under a lot of pressure for pretty much the latter half of that race. For at least half an hour of the race, you two were just nose to tail. Either you were in front or he was in front. So, you had a mediocre first round for yourself, but the last 2 rounds you've certainly come back onto form, and obviously today was your best qualifying start. I think it was P6 that you started, so you normally started down in P12, P13. So you certainly seem to be coming on form with 2 third place finishes in Sebring and here again tonight. Where's your aspirations for where you want to be by the end of the season?
I'd like to be on the podium somewhere. That would be great. It's just I learned from the first GT trophy that you and myself competed in. A lot of this is consistency. Being the fastest on the track, yeah, that's great, but you risk crashing so much more than if you just stay consistent, try and run a fairly safe setup and that sort of thing. You can work your way up the board like I have done so far, just by trying to maintain pace as opposed to trying to push it too hard and crash. But yeah, sorry, to answer your question, on the podium, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll be there or thereabouts by the end of the season. And give a very vital tip to the rest of the drivers there. Consistency is the name of the game. Obviously, we've got the Hungaro Ring next. You've been around there in the Porsche 922 in another series. Now you're coming in with a Porsche GT3 around there. How are you looking forward to Hungaro Ring?
Yeah, I love that track. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And luckily, the GT3 is a breeze compared to the 992 to drive. So yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. It's a really good track for the Porsche. Actually, it should fare pretty well there.
Definitely. And thanks for joining us here in the commentary box, Tom. 2 third places put you up, and obviously your main aim for tonight, speaking before the race, was to get in front of your rivals in the championship, and you managed to get that done. So some valuable points in the championship overall. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out before we let you go, mate?
Just the Performance Link Esports guys, everybody at Apex, because you guys do a fantastic job with all the commentary and admin, and you guys are really, really awesome. Any of my family that might be watching, and to my wife for putting up with my sim racing. Gotta always get that in there.
You got to get that one in there. Cheers for joining us, Tom, and look forward to seeing you at the next round at the Hungaro Ring.
Cheers, lads. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers, Tom.
Wow, after hearing from some of our drivers, should we give you your classified results here at the Suzuka? I think he said Hungaroring, but that's next week. I'm already a week ahead of myself
Week ahead
here.
of yourself, lad.
Yeah. So with the race victory for Porsche, it was the Swiss driver Carragher with Jovanovski just beating Tom Bigger to the podium, to the second place on the podium. It was Gandolfi, the first of our Ferrari drivers, and Geekling not too far behind him was the Scandinavian driver. Matthew McBride, obviously winning last time out, had to settle for 6th place here in Japan. That's Vinagre, Engelhardt, Manners, and Hope Mel rounding out your top 10. It was Guiducci, Adam Kindness, after a crazy race, came home in 12th in the end for Aldi. Pajero 13th, Altrek in 14th, Malilov was 15th, Shartner, Niels Hofgaard, Matea, and then it was Rankin and Petrovicius coming home in 20th after another driver who'd had a very eventful race, to say the least. It was Loxton was 21st. Whitehouse didn't hear too much from him, but kept the car clean and stayed on the lead lap, come home in 22nd. And first of the lap driver as well. It was winner from race 1. Winning this for BMW Track Scotland. Gonna feel aggrieved with that 23rd place. Fuller Shaw, after that incident, came home. He had early in the race, came home in 24th. Palmas in 25th. Rafatea, Robson, and Matt Hubbard. Then Hubler, Christiansen, and Kahea rounding out your field here at Suzuka. And wow, what a race! As mentioned, next time out, we will be heading to Hungaroring. That's in a week's time. In the meantime, we've got a couple of days off of action here on Apex Racing TV before on Friday night, I think it is, we head across its Porsche Cup. There, it's round 8 for them. They are at the Red Bull Ring. And also a little later that evening at 9 o'clock GMT, it is Radicals. They are at Phillip Island for round 8. And then later on Saturday night at 8 p.m, it's Formula Renault 2.0 from Okayama. But they're rounding out the evening's events with the Formula Renault 3.5. So a nice night of Formula Renault. So how better way to spend your Saturday night there. But yeah, a big thank you to our sponsors here, Apex Racing TV. So obviously there's Apex Racing Academy, VRS, and SDK Gaming. Andy, one word from you to close the show on to describe the action today.
Interesting, and the championship has been made all the more interesting from it as well. So, yeah, interesting is my word of the day for this round.
Well, I make that about 13 or 14 words instead of one, but we'll go with that one, and it was definitely a spot-on way to describe it here. We look forward to seeing you in a week's time as we head back to Europe, to the Hungaroring. From myself, Andy, and Dennis in the production booth, is thank you very much and good night.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.